Hey y'all. Today's objective is converting decimals and fractions. You've done this before, so it's going to be a really quick overview of how to convert fractions to decimals and decimals to fractions. So here's some vocabulary. A fraction is a number written A over B, and it's part of a whole. A decimal is a fraction of the power of 10, and it's digits to the right. So when you have a decimal, it's that little point, so digits to the right. But really a decimal is a fraction, is a form of a fraction with a power of 10. Terminating decimal has a finite number of digits. Finite means an ending number, so this decimal ends. Terminating means end. And you add zeros on the end, so if you're working with terminating decimals, you can always add extra zeros on the end. Repeating decimals have repeating digits, and you cannot add zeros to them. So an example of a terminating decimal would be like 0.3. And you can add zeros to the end of it to make it 0.30 or 0.300 or 0.3000. Repeating decimals are written like this, 0.3 with a line over it. It's called bar notation. And what that means, you cannot add zeros on the end. That means that is 0.33333 for as many times because it's a repeating decimal. So you cannot add zeros. There. All right, so to convert fractions to decimals, you're going to divide, because the fraction bar means division. So you're going to divide A by B, which means A goes inside the house and B is on the outside. We have to use long division. So we have 1/2. We all know 1/2 is 0.5. So I'm showing you this as an example, so hopefully it will make sense. To divide 1 by 2, that means 1 goes inside the house. 2 cannot go into 1, so we add a decimal and a 0. When you add a decimal and 0, it becomes 10. 2 can go into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. We have no remainder, so we're done. So 0.5, that's where the point comes from. 0.5 comes from. It's 1 divided by 2. Example 2, 3/4. Again, a very common one. We know that 3/4 is 70.75, so I want to show you where it comes from. 3 goes inside the house. 4 cannot go into 3, so we add a decimal and a 0. 4 goes into 30 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. You subtract, and you have 2. So we bring down a 0, and now we have 20. Again, you can add zeros. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20, and we have no remainder, so we're done. 0.75. 1/8. 1/8 is not as common, so we're going to divide 1 by 8. 8 cannot go into 1, so we add a decimal and a 0, and it becomes 10. 8 into 10 one time. 1 times 8 is 8. You subtract, and we get 2. Bring down a 0. 8 into 20. 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. Subtract, and we are left with 4. You cannot stop until you see either a repeating pattern or it ends. So we add another 0. 8 into 40, 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. And now we have no remainder, so it's equal to 0.125. So you keep adding zeros. All right, so you try these, 3/8 and 2/5. Pause the video, try those, and then replay when you're ready. 3/8, so you're going to divide 8 into 30. Let's see, 3 times 8 is 24. 8 into 60, 7 times 8 is 56. 8 into 45 times. So we know that it is 0.375. Now 2/5, 5 into 2. So we go add a decimal and a 0, it becomes 20. 5 will go into 24 times. And no remainder, so 0.4. I hope you got those correct. All right, so this is to convert decimals to fractions. To convert decimals. So you put the decimal in the numerator, whatever the decimal is, that goes in the numerator. And then the denominator is a power of 10. The denominator is a power of 10, so we're either going to use 10, 100, 1,000. So your denominator is always going to start off as a power of 10. An example, 0.25. Again, a common example. We know that 0.25 is 1/4, so I want to show you where it comes from. 0.25 over 100. Not 0.25, sorry. 25 over 100. Because there's 2 digits in the numerator, that means we need 2 zeros, so 100. And I showed you simplifying, and that's where I got down to 1/4. Example 2, 0.3. You put the 3 on top, and because that's 1 digit, you add 1 zero to make it 10, 3/10. It's already simplified, so 3/10 is our answer. Number 3, 0.85. It starts out as 85 over 100 because there's 2 two numbers in the numerator. You add 2 zeros to make it 100. And now we need to simplify. We can divide by 5. And I know that's going to be 20. Let's see, 85 divided by 5. 17. And that is already simplified, so our answer is 17 over 20. I can't get my board over anymore. Sorry. All right, so here's some you tries. You try 0.6, 0.45. I want you to try these, and when you finish, press play, and I'll show you what the answers are. Because there's 1 digit, that means 1 zero, so it's a 10. And when you can reduce, divide by 2, you get 3/5. 3/5. And then the next one, you're going to start with 45 over 100 because there's 2 digits, so there's 2 zeros. And then we're going to divide by 5, which would be 9 over 20. And that is as low as you can go, so the answer is 9/20. And we are going to work more with converting in class.